There it is. Hi,
Hi.
Hey.
everybody. That's Stacie, the girl,
Hello.
and
Hello.
Mitch, the boy.
Hi.
And Stacie and Mitch are newlyweds.
Yay.
Like as of Sunday, so this is day 5 of marriage. Any advice for the? Any advice for the?
That we're supposed to give?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. 5 days? Well, sure. Now
Well-
save money on your wedding. There's some advice.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah.
you guys
Do
had
it
a.
in a pandemic.
Make coffee in the morning every day.
Oh well, then yeah, there, that's not a bad idea. But you're 5 days since your wedding, which was the minimal size allowed by law, and then you guys were married in Prince George. And who did the wedding, by the way? I didn't catch that guy. Who was that guy?
We had Major Neil Wilkinson from the Salvation
Oh,
Army.
very good. Yeah. And so you guys got married in out in the backyard, and with very few attenders, but nevertheless, a lot of people were very happy to see your wedding, and of course, you saved a lot of money. So good job.
We did.
And then you went on a little honeymoon to Kitimat, which is actually,
Very
because
beautiful.
I saw the pictures of Alcan Falls. Hey, wait a minute, that's awesome. But hey, I'm going to show some pictures actually in a second. Before we get to the pictures, let's do our Bible verse.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead,
Can we read it?
please.
Okay. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you.
Wow.
Philippians 4, verse 8 to 9.
That is a really cool verse, especially people are always wanting to focus on the negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's always lots of negative to focus on, and of course our news benefits from the negative because no one is interested in good news technically. But that's good that we learn as Christians to focus in on that. Very good. I love good news.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's start. Okay, I'm going to show some wedding pictures first. I forgot. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Let's get that thing out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, there's the picture of you guys rubbing noses, and then there's a picture of the little gaffer. What's his name again? Riker, little Riker. Yeah. And look at that. Beautiful. Where did you go? Where are those pictures taken? Down at the river?
I think we took him
At the dog park.
dog park.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like my favorite
Well,
place.
there's big rocks and there's trees and rock pile. What, at the dog park?
Mm-hmm. It's like our dog park is like my favorite place in the whole world.
I was going to
It's
say
so
Prince George has a nice dog park.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Really
We did
nice.
get a few dogs trying to photobomb our wedding pictures.
Well, actually, your wedding too, right? That was
Oh, that's my Gus.
Oh, that's Gus. Oh, yeah. And then you have another cat there named, what is it, Bob or Andrew or something?
Oh,
Thomas.
he's one of the
Thomas.
disciples.
Yeah. Well,
We didn't name him Angus.
Dang it.
Thomas the
Yeah.
cat. Oh.
Great.
Well, anyways, congratulations. Thanks for joining us on your honeymoon. This is still your honeymoon, right?
Right.
How many people? My wife goes, "You're getting them to come and talk on your honeymoon?" They said yes.
Yep. We're back in Prince George.
Hey, what hotel did you stay at in Kitimat?
Sorry, that was my phone.
Where did you stay in Kitimat?
We stayed at this little cabin in the woods.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was this cute little cabin that this sweet little lady. I don't know if you know her, Vivian Moon.
No.
But anyways, like it's
Rings a bell.
yeah, and her husband was named Rick, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so she had this little cabin that she basically does as a ministry, like for like
it's in Strawberry Meadows or on the almost to the beach. Yeah.
And it
Wow.
was the sweetest little cabin, and it was really cute, and it was just so nice.
And you could walk to the beach too, right? Well, not the beach, the ocean.
Didn't really figure that out.
You could. I know you can, but it's pretty. It's pretty. It's like a mud flats there, so it's not
Yeah,
exactly. It's not exactly lay on the beach part.
Ankle.
Well, that is awesome. Hey, listen. This one might be a little longer than usual because I've been wanting to chat with you for a long time. And Stacie was in my youth group in Kitimat many years ago. Her mom and dad are wonderful folks in ministry at our church, and I just met Mitch, and what a wonderful little family life you guys have got now. But that didn't look like it might happen. Just what? Is it 5 years ago now, Stacie, when the car accident was?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
So Stacie's on her way home and I remember I was visiting my mom and dad in Alberta, Sylvan Lake, and I remember getting your note from your mom saying, we can't find Stacie. And there you are trying to get home for your grandpa's birthday or something.
No, Grandpa was passing away.
Grandpa was passing away. It was his death day, not his birthday. Yeah. And you were trying to get there in time to see him, and then still to this day don't know what caused it, but you ended up in the ditch, which in the mountains is not a ditch like in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it was down like a 40-foot cliff.
Yeah. And so tell us what happened as best you can know, and then tell us how you got found, because that's a really important story.
So I remember doing the drive, and it was kind of like a regular drive. I've done it a lot of times. And I stopped at this little junction, the Kitwanga Junction, which is about like maybe 60 or 70 kilometers outside of Terrace, BC.
Right.
And I bought a chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream cone.
Okay.
It was delicious.
Do you remember that part? Good.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. And then I kept driving, and I remember finishing the entire ice cream cone. And I had bought it at 6:05 p.m.
Okay.
And I finished the entire ice cream cone, and then the next thing I remember is coming to consciousness in the ditch.
And you're sort of upside down-ish.
Yeah, so the car was flipped on its side. Oh,
yeah.
I should have sent some.
No, I got the picture. I got the picture here of the two ladies standing by the car.
Oh, nice! You got some good cracks in pictures.
Yeah.
And so when I came to consciousness, I was able to reach my phone because it was charging, so it was still attached to the charger cord.
Right.
And I got my phone to me, and it was 6:25. So I was out of consciousness for at least a few minutes. We don't really know how long. And my car was flipped on its side. I had come out of my seat belt. And so I was on my back, and everything was broken. So the windshield was all cracked, everything. And so then I just had to wait, and I figured I knew that people were going to be coming looking for me. So I kind of just figured, and basically right after the accident happened, God said to me, like, don't worry, they're going to find you in the morning. So just wait. And so I did, which is probably the most real I've ever felt God speak to me. Like it wasn't like a audible voice, but yet it was a sure, like I just knew that's what it was from God, and it was what he said, don't worry, they're going to find you in the morning. So just wait. And so I did. And so then I kind of set to my task. I noticed my legs were really bloody and bandaged, bloody and mangled.
And in what position were your legs from your head?
Well, they were bent off to the left. Okay. So I was on my back, but they were bent off to like a right angle kind of thing. So I'm a nurse, so I knew that I needed to straighten them out. I was worried about compartment syndrome or losing my legs or blood loss. So I knew I needed to straighten them out and then elevate them.
Right.
And I knew it was going to really hurt. So I just prayed for some strength. And so I prayed to God and for some strength, and then I just did it. I had my kitten in the car with me. I had my brand new, I think it was 6 or 8 week old kitten. And I hadn't seen it right away. But when I went to straighten out my legs, as I straightened my first leg, I bopped the kitten in the butt, and he fell out of the car. And that was the last I saw him for the rest of the night. So that was like icing on the cake when they found me too. Is she survived the car accident too.
Oh.
But anyways. And so I straightened the one leg, and it was real bad. And then I just did the other one right away because I wanted it to be done. And so I straightened out the other leg. And once they were straight, the pain kind of settled a bit and subsided a bit. And then I kind of settled in for the night.
Yeah.
And the night was pretty wild. I was conscious the whole night. I mean, I napped a little bit, but it was 14 hours. Yeah,
it's hard to sleep when your legs are where they're not supposed to be.
Yeah. And then throughout the night, like a few funny things happened. Like I remember thinking like, there's snacks in this car. I know there's snacks.
Right.
And so I knew I had like candy bag and Dorito.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and then like by then, like I was starting to get weaker, so I couldn't reach very well. My arms were starting. I was actually starting to wonder if I was paralyzed.
Right.
I was starting to lose some sensation to my arms, and I hadn't been able to move my legs or my hips for a long time, but my arms were starting to get weak. So then I was getting a little bit nervous, but I found the Dorito bag. And so I was like reaching for this Dorito bag, and it took me like 5 minutes to get this little tip of the edge of the Dorito bag. And I grabbed it. And when I got the Dorito bag, like I had grabbed it from the bottom. So all the chips fell out except for one Dorito fell in my hand. And I was like, Yeah, that makes sense.
We should get Doritos to sponsor you for that story.
I know, right? And so then I ate the Dorito, and it was the best Dorito I've ever had in my life.
That's right.
But just one Dorito.
Was it at least completely intact?
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I was just kidding.
I think it was a big Dorito. It
Okay,
wasn't
good.
And then I prayed a lot through the night, and one of my favorite things was like throughout the night, I could feel the prayer around me.
Right.
I knew that lots of people were praying for me, and it wasn't a question, it wasn't a thought, it wasn't a maybe.
Right.
I could feel prayer around me from my loved ones.
Right.
And it was really cool. Like it was like I knew there was lots of people praying, and I could feel it. And I could feel like that night, like when I was lying there, I could see it almost. Like it's a bizarre thing to try and explain, but I could see, like I felt like I kept picturing this army, and I was like, you know, curled up in a ball, but there was this army in front of me of all these people praying for me that were protecting me from like harm that night, and I could feel it that night.
Yeah, and so on the other end, sort of like your friends and your church and the search and rescue, but your church especially started mobilizing. But so what happened there?
So within a half an hour of me not showing up, more than that probably.
So, and you would have been due around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in Kitimat?
I was due earlier than that. I was due at about 7.
Okay.
I was due at about 10 after 7.
Okay.
So by 7:30, my mom was stressed because they knew I wasn't going to stop for fun
right.
when I was coming to get there around this time. So by about 7:30, people were getting stressed. I think by about 8 o'clock, my mom was starting to call people, and then by I think about 9, people were on the road looking. I know of at least 8 vehicles or more. I think it was more, but I know for sure we counted at least 8 vehicles that were searching.
Right.
Like people from church, like Simon and Jordy were out, or Simon was out on his motorbike. The Wheelers. I know a bunch of my friends like Amy and Christine were in one car. Jackie, Ruth, and Ines were in one car. Laurel and Rob were in another car. And my brothers, like my uncles. There was at least 8 cars, which was annoying through the night because I could hear them every time that they drove by. I could hear them, and I was like, "Oh, that's me! They're looking for."
Oh.
But because I was so far down, they couldn't see me.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that drives that highway that much through the night. Like I knew that with extra traffic.
Oh, really? Okay. So, but you were down, like you said, 20, 30 feet or whatever, or even.
Yeah, I even tried flickering my phone flashlight.
Right.
So I had my phone, and I tried flicking the flashlight, seeing if they would see that. But
just in case everybody knows, there's no cell service there. That's why you couldn't actually phone. Yeah. Right. But they're driving at that point, right? And they're trying to see some tracks going off the road or anything, but of course, there wasn't any.
Yeah, and the police were doing a few. The police did at least a few loops too. So
right.
Between the 8 vehicles and the police, there was, I could hear people all night.
And you didn't have a bear or a cougar show up, so that was a bonus.
That was a bonus. I was definitely eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Oh, okay.
The saddest things when they finally found me was like I was just head to toe mosquito bites. And I remember in the middle of the night, in the beginning of the night, I was like swatting them away. But by the end of the night, I was like, fine.
Go ahead.
Because my arms were too weak to be able to swat them away.
Yeah.
So I remember that being irritated.
So then morning comes. People are still out looking.
Yeah. So then all night people were looking. I played Candy Crush for like an hour, and then I was like, oh, this isn't good use of my phone.
Oh, Candy Crush.
I was bored.
Oh, well, no kidding. Yeah, but.
And then so then I just waited, and then around like what felt like around 10 minutes before they found me, I started being like, why do you think God talked to you like that and told you they were going to find you in the morning? You have not really felt like you've heard God speak that clearly before to you in that way. And then I started being like, maybe I made that up. Maybe that wasn't God. Yeah. And it's like God gave me 13 hours and 50 minutes worth of strength, and he gave me what I needed. And then they found me 10 minutes later. So I think I was scared for about 10 minutes, and then they found me.
But then the people were at this point were now no longer in their cars, though. They were actually walking, right?
Well, what they were doing is, so what happened is 2 vehicles that were searching through the night met up. Just by chance.
Oh, okay.
And they decided to tag team it. And so they were driving on either side of the highway.
Right.
And where they could not see the very bottom of the ditch, they were physically getting out and looking.
Okay.
So they were driving at a kind of a crawl and then like making sure they could see the bottom on both sides for the whole. And basically they started that at the junction where I bought the ice cream cone.
Right.
And then they were going to go up all the way to Terrace because they knew I hadn't arrived.
And that's like 110 kilometers, right? How far is it from Kitwanga to Terrace?
It's not. Is it that much? I thought it was like something like 70.
Okay, well, fair enough. It's
But
still
I don't know. Maybe it's more. I don't know.
more than 3.
More than 3.
Yeah.
They did that for a while. I think they were doing that from 5 a.m. to. So they were doing that for at least a couple hours before they found me.
Wow.
Then yeah.
And they found you too. What time? So you crashed at 4?
I think it was 10 after 7. They found me.
And what? So in the morning. Okay.
I crashed at 6 p.m.
I was closer. It was 98.9 kilometers. Actually,
oh, there you go.
I was closer than you. So there you go.
And so they started crawling along the edges, and that's how they ended up finding me. So
and they were yelling, right? And you heard them, or how did that go?
Laurel Zeidema saw my car first.
Oh, she saw the car first. Okay.
Yeah, she saw my car, and she started yelling my name.
Right.
And when she saw my car, she yelled up apparently she yelled out my name first, but I didn't hear it. I heard Rob. Makes sense. He's a man. It's probably a louder voice. I heard Rob yell my name. And so then when he yelled Stacie, I said, hello. And then when they heard my hello, then I heard everybody screaming. So then it was like, I could hear multiple voices. There was 5 of them there, and I could hear them shuffling. So I could hear them shuffling down the cliff. Which I just showed him the spot this week when we went to Kitimat. And I'm like,
steep.
You know, after the accident for a long time, people were like, oh, she went down this cliff. And I'm like, well, it wasn't a cliff. Like, you guys are exaggerating. It's a hill. I was like, oh, no.
It's a cliff. Yeah.
I went down a cliff. And so I could hear them shuffling down, which, like, when we went this week, I was like, man, that would have been brutal to get down on your feet.
I mean, it did kind of look like a hill.
When you're lying upside down with your legs around your head, it looks like a hill. Yeah, I'm looking at we're looking at the car now, the top view of it, but before we're looking at the bottom view. And BuzzFeed decided to call you badass, so that's the first time you ever hear me say that word.
Nurse.
Yeah. I'm looking at that article now, and that's like, thanks BuzzFeed. But anyways, look at that.
Yeah, I know people still call me that now, which is funny.
Yeah, fair enough.
But so then, I could hear them shuffling down the hill, and then all I remember is through the open window, I could. All of a sudden, Rob Zeidema poked his head through, and that was the first thing I said. And he had this big, I don't know if you can picture it right now, but his big Rob Zeidema grin.
Yep, well, I can picture it.
And it was like just the best. Like, I'm sure he was super stressed and super worried and anxious, but all he had was this big, giant grin. And he's got the best smile on the best of day, so it was pretty good. And and so then as soon as they found me, I was like, oh, okay, I'm found. But then it was rough the next hour because the shock wore off, the pain started kicking in. I remember saying to Rob, like, hey, Rob, do you have any Advil in your car? And he said that he looked down at my broken legs with the like bones sticking out. And
Advil ain't gonna help.
And he's like, no, honey, I don't have Advil in my car. And then, so that was funny. And then I remember asking for a water, but then being like, actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't drink water because I'm sure I'm going to have surgery. And so they're like, are you sure you don't water? I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to have surgery. I'm supposed to be NPO, nothing by mouth. And they're like laughing at me.
The nurse kicked in.
Yeah. Jackie was really scared. She thought that they hadn't made it in time and it wasn't going to go well.
Oh, okay.
So that was really hard for everybody that was there because they didn't think, because it was, so once they found me, they flagged down a vehicle and had to send it to get to cell service to call an ambulance, which is half an hour.
Right.
So basically it was half an hour till that vehicle could get cell service. And then it was a half an hour more for the ambulance to get to me. So from when they found me to when the ambulance arrived, it was an hour.
Right. Well, that's not
and then it was another. And then it was another 2 hours for them to get me out with the jaws of life and the gurney and pull me up the cliff on a stretcher and stuff. Or maybe not quite 2 hours. It probably was under, but more than an hour.
And they took you to Terrace and then to Vancouver. Is that how that worked?
Yeah. So the helicopter landed on the highway and flew me to Terrace ICU. And they did some stabilizing there. That's where my parents were waiting for me. So my parents and a bunch of my extended family were there because my grandpa had passed away.
Yeah, I was going to say Grandpa Bob then.
Yeah, he passed away the night I was missing. And like, I can't remember what time, in the morning sometime.
Yeah.
And then they flew me to Terrace ICU. and did some stabilizing. And at first, all my parents knew were that my legs were broken. That's
Right.
the report that they'd gotten, or that I had at least a broken leg.
Oh, that's all they got told.
And so they didn't find out the extent. That's not the word. Extensiveness of my injury.
That's right. Yeah.
Until we got to Vancouver, and a surgeon came out in Vancouver and said, "What do you know?" And my parents said, "Oh, well, we know she has at least a broken leg." And he goes, "Okay, well, it's a lot more extensive than that.
Right.
She's broken both feet and both ankles and her right leg, her pelvis, her right shoulder, 2 vertebrae in her back. Her lung is collapsed."
I'm trying to find a picture of you in the hospital, but it's not there anymore. But you were from stem to stern.
Yeah, a bunch of ribs. Basically head to toe. Even and so then I was in the hospital at VGH for 5 months the first time around. I've had 17 surgeries since then.
17. 17 people.
17.
So I do have this picture of you and your mom with your foot on the board. You know that picture? Yeah. And so when was that approximately, you think?
Oh,
was that still your first visit? Or is that after one of your surgeries?
That's probably around surgery 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the longest term damage to you was definitely your lower extremities. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, my ankles. So one of the final surgeries was fusing my ankles. I fused the one ankle because I also so I was in there for 5 months because I also got a pretty brutal bone infection on my right leg.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, and so they were going to amputate. So I was told multiple times that they were going to have to amputate my feet.
Yeah.
At the beginning, they said we're probably going to have to amputate her feet. And then they didn't. And then, a month later, they're like, okay, now we're going to have to amputate her feet.
Right.
And then they didn't. And then,
you big liars. No, just kidding.
Well, if you're going to lie, I'd rather go that way than the other.
That's right.
And then when I got the bone infection in October,
those are not bad.
They were like, oh yeah, if we don't amputate this foot, it is going to be many, many surgeries over years, which in the end was what it was. It was many surgeries over years. But I got both feet. They're cute. They're real chubby now. They're like a square.
And you wore your beautiful boots on your wedding. I was so impressed.
I know.
Those are awesome. Are those custom made boots or are they just regular?
Oh yes, yeah, they're custom made. So I have a lateral wedge on the left shoe. Yeah. Actually, I don't anymore. So I used to have
go ahead.
On both sides, but now it's just the right shoe has a 1-inch lift. Yeah. Because I lost an inch in the
one side. Yeah.
Yeah, with the bone infection.
Well, my secretary has a very similar leg situation to you, so she always has to get her custom boots too. So
I love my cobbler. Did you know? Most people don't know there's still cobblers. And my shoe cobbler.
Oh yes, no, I do know that because of my secretary. She has to get them. Yeah.
The best.
And they're really important. People don't realize how important those guys are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the short version. I know, and then then real life sort of ends up coming back, and you continue to get yourself up on your feet. And then when were you able to actually walk again unassisted? How long did that take?
I was in a wheelchair for a year and a half, or just basically a year and a half.
Right.
And then the last 6 months of the wheelchair, I was just using it when I needed it, which is a lot of the time. And I just gradually weaned off of it. And then I went to GF Strong Rehab Center, which is a magical place.
And that's where?
In Vancouver.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was there when I got there, they said that I was going to be there for 3 weeks. They were going to hopefully get me walking enough to go back to my parents' house.
Okay.
But with those 3 weeks, I was able to achieve far more than they had hoped.
Nice.
And so instead of staying for 3 weeks, at the end of those 3 weeks, they're like, actually, let's do a few more weeks because we might even be able to get you home living by yourself.
Right.
And so instead, the 3 weeks ended up being, I think, 3 months. Oh, yeah. The 3 weeks ended up being 3 months. And instead of the goal being able to walk well enough to go back to my parents' house, the goal was to go back to my house in Prince George and live independently with like 28 stairs. Wow. Which they did.
So this is 2 years then? Not quite. Since the accident.
Not quite. Yeah, like a year and a half. I moved back in January and my accident was in July. So it was a year in July and then July, August, September, October, November.
Yeah, I mean,
so a year and a half.
That's amazing because I mean, you were a mess. I mean, let's face it.
She still kind of walks like a penguin.
Oh, really?
I do not walk like
Wow. So day 5 of marriage. Okay, so here we.
rude. Rude. I only sometimes walk like a penguin.
As long as you don't squawk like a penguin, because yeah.
And like for the most part, you can't tell. Like when I'm
Yeah,
walking,
for sure. Yeah.
I usually can't tell. It's just if I've had a rough day or if I've overdone it, then I get a little lippy.
Yeah. No, I was staring at your legs in the wedding. It was kind of funny because I was looking. How look at that? They look great. It was like. I know. It sounds weird coming from the pastor, staring at your wife's legs, but they look amazing. And
Can you get a charger cord? I plugged it in over there, but then we moved.
oh, okay, yeah, don't uncharge me. Okay, but anyways, wow, and and you think about your church family, and you think about your family, and then your poor mom and pa with Bob passing away at that same time. Oh my goodness, everything just piled up. But here you are.
Here I am. Yeah, I mean the thing with the church family is, so first of all, it was both, right? Like it was my church family in Kitimat, and then my church family in Prince George.
Right.
And then my friends, and then even my coworkers in NICU. Like, I mean, it was a giant support network. Like, I mean, they did the GoFundMe that raised like, I think it was $20,000.
Yeah, that was nice.
So like with all my stuff, I didn't have to ever worry about finances.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Kitimat, like, I mean, it was my church family that was looking for me, right? And that found me. And then in Prince George, when I moved back, the first 6 months when I was living independently, it was not independently, it was with my church family. You know, they had probably every single day someone from my church would come and either bring me food or check my mail for me or, do whatever.
Yeah, we didn't mention you were actually already living in Prince George. I didn't mention this, and you were already nursing at that point. So that's why you were back in Prince George. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who are geographically challenged, Prince George is a full, almost 7-hour drive from Prince George to Kitimat, which is on the ocean, but it's far from the edge of the ocean. But coast that is. So yeah.
Yeah, and so like when I moved back, my church, like I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like I wouldn't have been able to live and like I remember my mom leaving me in Prince George that first time, just crying, just because.
Oh
yeah. Having me in her house for 2 years, and like when she left me, I still was using a walker.
Yeah.
Like I was still using a 4-wheel walker 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And basically my job for the day when I first moved back was getting down my stairs to eat breakfast. Like those 28 stairs, like. That was my job. And I would go down in the morning, and then at the end of the day, I'd go up, and like, that's what I did in a day. And I was proud of that accomplishment. Right. And that was kind of my job for the day, is getting downstairs to have food. And like, then I'd be on the couch for the rest of the day.
How many stairs in your new house?
One. That's the point. One. Well, there's two. There's one inside and one outside.
Okay. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
No, it's the best. That was the beauty of this house. That's why I sold the townhouse, and because basically, like after a few months of being in the townhouse, I was able to. Once I was like, okay, I don't need this for therapy anymore. I don't want to be in this. And so then but once I moved back on my own, I started not doing very well. Like that's when all the PTSD kicked in. It was actually like a full 2 years later, which is what all the therapists say is normal, because you're really not dying for the first 2 years.
That's right.
And then once that settles, that's when you get the anxiety and stuff. So then I got my therapy dog, who is the best.
Oh, Gus is a therapy dog.
Yeah, he's a registered therapy dog, and he's very good at it. He's the best.
Oh, very good.
And he helped a lot, and that's actually what stopped me from using my walker, because I had this little puppy, and he was so cute I couldn't put him down, and you can't use a walker if your hands are full of puppy.
That's right.
So then I stopped using my walker basically as soon as I got him, because I was not interested in putting him down. And then
sorry, putting him down. You know that's a veterinary phrase, right?
Oh yeah, right. No, I didn't want to physically put him on the
Placing
floor.
him. Okay, gotcha.
Placing him on the
Placing
floor.
Him on the floor.
Yeah, and even like when he was little, he was too little, because he's a small breed, so he was too little to do my stairs. So I was carrying my.
Oh
puppy
my!
down.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but it was like, because it pushed me physically to do like. So then I had to learn how to do the stairs one-handed, because I needed to carry the dog up and down the stairs. And so like I learned how, like all the things that I couldn't do before I got him, I was pushed physically. And then he also needed walks, so I was forced to take him. I mean, at the beginning, I just took him around my building. Like that's the walk he'd get, but that's all he needed, because he was
He's
tiny.
got little tiny legs.
Yeah, and then as he needed more, I was able to do more, and so then my therapy just kind of kept going from there.
Wow. Well.
And then I had 2 years to get back to my job, and I think I was 2 days
Oh,
under my
okay. So if you didn't get it before 2
I would've
years,
lost my
then they would have had to drop you. Oh my goodness.
the permanent position.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would've
yeah.
still-
But still.
yeah, and so
Wow.
I pushed to get there, and I got back under the 2 year mark to keep my permanent.
And so
I think
you said that you were sort of on a ward for a while, and that was kind of hard on your feet, but now you're mostly on the phone. Is that right?
yeah,
With
so
your
I have a desk
with
job
your
now.
nursing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
So
great.
now yeah.
And then Mitch came along. Look at
And
that.
then my feet were good enough to date.
Oh,
It
is
was
that
still-
yeah?
I was still really self-conscious about them though. Like I remember
Aw.
our first date the first time we had to go to stairs, because like I walk basically normal for the most part now, but as soon as I hit stairs, because both of my ankles are fused, I slow right down because
Yep.
I have to. And so then I was like, oh no, stairs. But he was good. He didn't care.
Well, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news, Stacie.
Yeah.
You got beautiful feet. Because they're telling an amazing story, for starters. And you got a story of God's faithfulness and also telling a story of you and your perseverance. So well done. And Mitch, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You don't get to chat much today because, we'll get.
He's used to it.
And the only thing he gets to add is a penguin comment, which is going to get him in trouble later. But no, just kidding. Just
That's
kidding.
the one thing you said. You chipped in nicely.
So Mitch, you can tell the story how you guys got engaged. Tell me about. I don't know anything about your engagement, and I know you guys had met online, and then you started dating, and then tell me about the engagement.
So we got engaged. What was it? 2 months after.
You met?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we
Yeah.
we started dating December.
No, November.
November.
Okay, Mitch, if you're going to tell the story, you have to tell it right. Just kidding. Carry on.
I got it all on my phone. One sec. I'm just gonna. Bring
Oh,
it up.
he's got to get the details right.
That's a sweetie.
I got the date. I got everything. My
Good.
my memory is like an old man's.
Oh, well, welcome to the club then. And he's got your dad's hairdo, Stacie. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And
But he can grow a great beard, which
I
is
can grow a really good beard.
oh yeah,
which
well,
is
fair
very
enough
important-
then.
Very important to me.
Well, that's all I can do.
So we started talking November 12th.
Okay,
We started talking November 12th on the Tinder.
right.
On the Tinder.
On the dating
I love that I
app.
met my Christian husband on Tinder.
Right.
Should-
God's funny. He's
should
like,
we-
look,
should-
I got a funny joke for you.
Should we put a disclaimer?
Yeah. I do not recommend it necessarily.
We
I
might
did-
have to put a ding.
I did conveniently find my Christian husband on Tinder.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Hey, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
It really does. And then our first date was November 23rd.
Okay.
So we had our first date at a Starbucks.
I was gonna say it has to be a public location. Right? Yeah. yeah,
Wearing his
yeah.
kilt.
That's when my
You
kid-
showed up in your kilt.
I
Yeah.
showed
He,
up in my
he
kilt.
did
I
warn
was
me.
so
That's gutsy.
I was so lucky she wanted a second date.
Yes.
That's gutsy, man.
Yeah. He said, just so you know, I'm wearing my kilt tomorrow on our date. And I was like, okay.
That is awesome.
Great.
And then 2 months later, I proposed on January the 19th.
Now, did you know it was coming, Stacie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we took.
So it wasn't a surprise?
I mean, no, it
Okay.
was not. a surprise. Yeah.
Did he make you hike up a mountain or something? That would have been unkind. But
No, we did it at my folks' house. We didn't have my folks' house. I bought a little puzzle off Amazon that was like a heart,
okay.
and I wrote in it. What did I
Says,
write? I said.
Just like this puzzle, I'm incomplete
here we go.
without.
Oh, there you go.
And
So
there's a missing piece.
he brought his A game. He brought his A game for that. That's good.
Yeah. And there was a missing piece, and so then he's like, "Oh, there's a piece missing. Let me go get it." And then it says, on the missing piece it says, "Will you marry me?" On a heart.
That is actually,
And then,
that's pretty good.
and then a ring.
Yeah, it was good.
Sorry, what day was the engagement again?
January
January 19th.
Okay, so then you start making wedding plans, and then March comes along, and all of a sudden there's a pandemic, and all of a sudden April comes along, and you can't have your wedding anymore.
We were originally planning for the summer, and it was just like not working. And then the pandemic happened, and it just got to the point where we're like, we just want to be married. Like
Yep.
we don't need
Yep.
a big wedding. I just want to, especially with like the pandemic is really helpful for like, reminding you what's important. And
That's
what's
right.
necessary.
Very
and we
true.
just want to be married, and and start our life together as husband and wife. And so we just decided just to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a great idea. Wow. Well, this has been my longest interview. You guys, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no worries.
And I always try to keep them 20 minutes, but I know that we had a lot of catching up to do, and we had a lot of filling in to do. And I know you could probably go for another hour, and maybe someday we'll hook up again and just start talking again about that. But I wanted to just pray for you guys. Brand new marriage, and your new life together, and of course, just like rehab and stuff, there's ups and downs, and that's the same in a marriage. And so let me pray for you guys. Can I pray for you?
I love it.
Lord, thank you so much for Mitch and Stacie. What a blessing they are to us, to each other. And Lord, in their marriage, we thank you that they have put you first. And Lord, we ask that you will be the center of their marriage for day to day to day. May they continue to be loving and kind to each other, always putting each other first. And Lord, give them many, many years of happiness and joy and meaning together. And continue to bless Stacie's physical body. May her recovery continue, and may the aches and pains and the sleepless nights be lessened, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, I missed you. That was fun.
Well, good. Well, hey, say goodbye to everybody in internet land.